Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are also proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Tuesday, March 11th. We're live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ stories. We will produce the 25th anniversary of our Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. We present Pride Fete in August and Pride Fort Lauderdale in February. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leader anchors will host this show to support the LGBTQ community. So let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Jeff Oliverio. He's a financial advisor and certified financial planner with Truist Wealth in Fort Lauderdale. Jeff is one of the founders and president of Hollywood LGBTQ+ Council. Jeff, Girl Power, Free Open Bar, and Freaky Kiss Designs comes to Art Walk Wilton Manors on March 15th. Tell me, what's going on?
Well, Art Walk Wilton Manors is set to celebrate Women's History Month with a night of creativity and entertainment on March 15th. The event will feature Freaky Kiss Designs, a graffiti artist known for her bold spray painting style. She will create a live interactive cellophane art installation at Dixie Village from 6:30 to 6:45 p.m. Visitors can enjoy a free open bar while watching the artist tag a suspended cellophane backdrop with her signature design. The live graffiti session leads into the Fashion Meets Art Walk runway show, adding an artistic edge to the evening's celebrations. The event promises a night of creativity, celebration, and fun in the heart of Wilton Manors. For more information, visit hotspotsmagazine.com. Again, there's a lot of great entertainment and art in South Florida. I like to see that we bring a lot of those events here to Wilton Manors. And again, with a unique design, it sounds like, with a graffiti artist doing a live show doing her art, which I think will be interesting.
So you had me at open bar.
Wouldn't it be great?
The art of drinking.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be great if the area became like a queer Wynwood? They could call it Wiltwood. I think it'd be great.
Wiltwood?
You don't really want
I
your
had
wood
that
to
happen
wilt.
to me over the weekend. I don't think that should.
Didn't mean to say that one.
You stepped right into that one.
Boy, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight, and we look forward to seeing you at Art Walk Wilton Manors on March 15th. Next, we welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro. He's an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books of poetry. Also, Gregg has the second best head of hair at the table. Gregg, Outshine Cocktails and Cinema features Lilies Not For Me on March 25th in Miami and March 27th in Fort Lauderdale. Tell me, what's happening?
The Outshine Film Festival's Cocktails and Cinema series presents Lilies Not For Me on March 25th in Miami and March 27th in Fort Lauderdale. The screenings will take place at O Cinema South Beach and Gateway Theater, respectively, both starting at 7:30 p.m. The film follows a gay novelist and his psychiatric nurse whose relationship deepens through medical appointments. As emotions intensify, they resort to a risky procedure testing the boundaries of love and identity. Attendees can enjoy a post-film cocktail reception sponsored by Tito's Vodka, offering a chance to mingle with fellow film lovers and the LGBTQ community. Tickets are available for $10. More details can be found at outshinefilm.com. I have to say, as a film writer,
Right.
we're so lucky to have the Outshine Film Festival here in South Florida. This means not only that we get 2 queer film festivals a year, one in Fort Lauderdale and one in Miami Beach, but we also get special events like this. So keep up the good work, Outshine.
Absolutely. I love Outshine. I love it when we do it up here in Fort Lauderdale. I don't usually go to Miami, but I got turned on to them with when they did it digitally or virtually during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I've never watched better films in my life.
It's a great selection, yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed that they mentioned during the Oscars how over the pandemic we lost like 1,000 independent theaters throughout the country. So a lot of Outshine, in addition to telling LGBTQ stories, it's also a way to support independent theaters. We have a theater in downtown Hollywood as well that does also participate in some of the film festivals and showing independent films. And it's fun to go to the big Regals and AMC that have all the bells and whistles, but you're not going to see films like this there, and it's great to support these, or else we will only be seeing Marvel movies for the rest of our life if we don't go to these independent theaters. So support Outshine and support independent theaters.
Absolutely. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight, and we look forward to seeing you at Outshine Cocktails and Cinema, Lilies Not For Me, on March 25th in Miami and March 27th in Fort Lauderdale.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Tai Houser. He is a professor of English and Humanities at Broward College and Florida Atlantic University. Tai, the North Beach LGBTQ and Friends has a full March for Fun. Tell me about it. What's happening?
Yeah, so North Beach LGBTQ and Friends has lined up a really exciting series of events throughout March and into early April. The festivities begin on March 20th with a tour of Stonewall National Museum and Library at 2 p.m. Then on March 23rd, Nona's hosts the second North Beach Karaoke at 5:30 p.m. so you can sing your guts out. The NSU Art Museum Wine and Social follows on March 30th at 2 p.m. with an exhibition tour at 3. A tropical tiki party at the Grove on March 31st from 4 to 8 p.m. promises island vibes. And on April 3rd, the Foundry presents The Timekeepers, a gripping play by Dan Clancy from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The celebrations wrap up with the 3rd annual Spring Intracoastal Cruise on April 14th at 6 p.m. Tickets are priced at $33. This diverse lineup ensures a month of socializing, culture, and community connection. For more details, visit northbeachlgbtqandfriends.org. So, again, there's always lots going on. There's always something to do. It seems like we have a lot of great stuff lined up here for March and into April. So get out and support the community.
Yeah, I will say I was a little confused when the story started and I read it the first time because I've never heard the area in Fort Lauderdale called North Beach because Miami has a North Beach that has, so I was a little confused. I guess this is a new moniker that we're calling the northern section of Fort Lauderdale Beach as North Beach. So, but the events sound great, and I'm glad to see, again, cultural events, outside of kind of the core of here in Wilton Manors. So it's good to get out and check out other parts of the city.
I love the way more and more LGBTQ groups keep popping up in the region. It's a way for community to band together and show that no matter how hard Governor Death Sentence wants to erase us, we're here, we're queer, and we're staying put.
Absolutely.
And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at North Beach LGBTQ and Friends fun events throughout March.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Tai Houser, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Florida AIDS Walk Superstar Entertainment and biggest LGBTQ event of the year comes on March 15th. The Florida AIDS Walk and Music Festival is celebrating its 20th anniversary in style, with international pop star Rita Ora headlining the event. DJ Spinderella, the legendary DJ from Salt and Pepper, will also be spinning tracks, bringing energy to the stage. The event takes place on Saturday, March 15th at Fort Lauderdale Beach Park, with the music festival kicking off at 11 a.m. But it's more than just music. This beachside event includes a 5K walk to raise funds for local HIV/AIDS service organizations, helping support those affected by the epidemic. LGBTQ advocates and allies are expected to turn out in full force, making it a day of unity, music, and giving back. Get ready to walk, dance, and celebrate for a cause. More details are available on FloridaAIDSWalk.org. So this is a big event every year. I love that Rita Ora is coming for my birthday.
Oh, very nice.
Just gonna put that out there. March 15th, my birthday. I'll see you walking down the street. You just say hi.
Are you bringing a cake, or they're bringing a cake?
No, you buy me a drink.
Buy you a drink. Well, it's an already worthy cause and event, and it's going to be made so much better by the talents of Rita Ora and DJ Spinderella. I hope that Rita performs her very queer song, Girls. That would be great.
Yeah, and I encourage people to go, and whatever dollar amount you can give, if it's $1, if it's $100, it's $1,000, because every dollar that's given to the AIDS Walk, to these local organizations, I'll be participating with SAVE this year. Again, there's just so many places that are losing funding and losing support from both the corporate community, grants. So this couldn't come at a better time. And of course, obviously supporting HIV and AIDS research to eradicate the disease is part of the mission. So support, come out, and it's a lot of fun. They do a great job with the music entertainment.
Yep.
I mean, I went to see Ricky Martin when he was in Coral Gables, and I thought, oh, he's going to come out and do like one song, and it was like a full concert. Wow. So I'm really excited to see what Rita Ora is going to bring to the stage, because she's an amazing entertainer.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up trans rights. California Governor Gavin Newsom facing backlash on comments over trans student athletes. California Governor Gavin Newsom is under fire from queer advocates after comments he made about transgender student athletes on the debut episode of his podcast, This is Gavin Newsom. In a conversation with far-right figure Charlie Kirk, Newsom called transgender women competing in sports, quote, deeply unfair, end quote, echoing language commonly used by conservatives opposing trans inclusion. LGBTQ advocacy groups, including Equality California and the Human Rights Campaign, swiftly condemned his remarks, calling them a betrayal. During the interview, Kirk pressed Newsom on the issue, and the governor responded, quote, "It is an issue of fairness. It's deeply unfair. I revere sports, so the issue of fairness is completely legit," end quote. LGBTQ leaders argue that these remarks fuel anti-trans rhetoric at a time when attacks on trans rights are escalating. California lawmakers in the LGBTQ caucus also rebuked Newsom, with Assemblyman Chris Ward and State Senator Carolina Menjivar stating they were profoundly sickened and frustrated by his words. A spokesperson for Newsom later defended his record on queer rights, pointing to his efforts to protect gender-affirming care and inclusive policies. However, activists insist that these comments undermine trans youth. Gavin Newsom is, I believe, throwing things into the wind to see what sticks, to try to solidify his space in a national election, to become potentially a presidential candidate. There's I think, especially on the Democratic side, this is not going to fly. If you're not going to stand by the tenets of inclusion and, what you were once what you were once for or currently for within your state, and now you're already seeing that Republicans are jumping on this to kind of push the issue to ban, trans participation in sports in the state of California, which I could only imagine what a kind of outrage that would cause if he is to do that. And, it's at a time when, is this the headline that you want to launch your national campaign on?
No.
Again, on the standing of like where this lands for votes and where this lands for, we all know that, it is a very divisive issue. And the polling on it is may or may not be in favor of winning a popular vote.
Right.
But on the flip side of that, standing by having a backbone and having morals to me is more important than anything, and that doesn't get any votes, in my opinion.
And what the fuck is Gavin Newsom doing talking to evangelical and white inferiorist Charlie Kirk, the pride of Prospect Heights, Illinois? Perhaps this terrible misstep is the result maybe of an untreated STI he caught from Kimberly Guilfoyle, his ex-wife.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Here are a couple of, other than the issues we've pointed out already, a couple of things I have a problem with here. What did he say? Call it deeply unfair? Was it deeply?
Yeah.
And the other one, he reveres sports. You're using far too strong of an adjective for what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And on top of that, shut up. It's not for you to talk about. It's not for you to try and solve. The people who need to be having this conversation, we're not listening to. Right? We have politicians out there with white supremacists telling us what we should think about this. Right. No, let's talk to a panel of trans people and figure out what's going on. Let's talk to their healthcare providers who know how this is affecting people.
Exactly.
Let's see what that's all about. But we won't do that. We'll sit down and call it out for political reasons.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up entertainment. New song from Orville, Peck, and the Wiggles sing "We Are Friends of Dorothy." Orville, Peck, and the Wiggles are embracing a classic queer-coded phrase in their latest collaboration. Peck, the masked gay country singer, has teamed up with the Wiggles, the beloved Australian children's music group, for a new song titled Friends of Dorothy. The track appears on Wiggle Up, Giddy Up, the Wiggles' country-themed album, and playfully celebrates Dorothy the dinosaur, while also offering a knowing wink to the LGBTQ community. While nothing in the lyrics is explicitly queer, those familiar with queer history will recognize the message of inclusion and support. The phrase, Friends of Dorothy, has long been used to discreetly identify fellow gay individuals, with its origins often linked to the Wizard of Oz's Dorothy Gale or writer Dorothy Parker. Judy Garland, who played Dorothy in the 1939 film, remains a legendary gay icon, with her devoted LGBTQ fanbase shaping queer culture for generations. Friends of Dorothy is just one of the collaborations on Wiggle Up, Giddy Up, which also features Dolly Parton, Lady Wilson, and more. Well, I don't know much about the Wiggles, but I can attest that Orville Peck is a brilliant queer musician who has made a name for his masked self in the world of modern country music. So this project sounds like something worth hearing. But I'm also fascinated by what I perceive as a Friends of Dorothy trend. So in addition to this song, there is also a children's book, which is coming out in April, called Are You a Friend of Dorothy? It's coming from Simon & Schuster, and it's by queer writer Kyle Lukoff and queer illustrator Levi Hastings. I may be wrong, but this does sound like the beginning of a trend to me.
I like it. I hope that it is. I mean, the Wiggles, to Americans, they're probably not very familiar, but they're fun. Like, they're just fun children's stuff. But I want to say, it's not so lightly coded. I mean, it's pretty gay.
The pink horse?
Pretty gay.
Well, I do think that the Friends of Dorothy, I was on a cruise, I don't know, a couple years ago, and the LGBTQ meetup group on cruise ships is always called the Friends of Dorothy. And we were talking I had friends on the cruise, and we saw some people and were like, are you going to the Friends of Dorothy meetup? And they were like, what is that? Is that like a Bill W? And I was like, no, it's an we were like, they didn't know what that term meant. So
the younger guys?
Yeah, but I mean, so I think it is a term that of a certain age you might be more familiar with it than others, because I don't know that it's as ubiquitous as it once was. So it's interesting that they're using it in a song and now in a children's book. But I think we're all friends of Dorothy, so.
Well, I hope the Wiggles, they do a cover of Pink Pony Club, too.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Tai Houser, and let's queer up the USA View. Supreme Court to decide fate of LGBTQ youth protections. The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case challenging Colorado's ban on conversion therapy for minors, a widely discredited practice. The ruling could have national implications, determining whether states can continue prohibiting what medical experts call a harmful and ineffective treatment. The case, Childs versus Salazar, was filed by Kaylee Childs, a licensed counselor in Colorado Springs, who argues the state's 2019 law violates her First Amendment rights. Represented by the far-right legal group Alliance Defending Freedom, Childs claims the law censors her ability to counsel minors experiencing same-sex attractions or gender identity confusion who, in her words, quote, prioritize their faith above their feelings. Okay. LGBTQ advocacy groups are warning that this case could set a dangerous precedent. Human Rights Campaign President Kelly Robinson stated, quote, the Supreme Court's decision to take up this case isn't just about so-called conversion therapy. It's about whether extremists can use our courts to push their dangerous agenda. The case comes as Supreme Court also weighs U.S. versus Scarametti, which challenges Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for trans youth. 3 conservative justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Brett Kavanaugh, have previously indicated support for hearing cases on LGBTQ medical care. Currently, 20 states and Washington, D.C. prohibit conversion therapy for minors, but in 2020, the 11th Circuit struck down bans in Florida, creating a divide among federal courts. Childs' attorney argues the Supreme Court must now resolve that split. The Supreme Court will hear arguments in its next term beginning in October. Well, first of all, you don't get to have freedom of speech when your freedom of speech hurts someone else. Like, that's not what freedom of speech means. So I don't know how, I know exactly how the Supreme Court will side with her on this, but if they do.
And the answer is yes. Extremists can use the Supreme Court to push their agenda, and it's happening on a daily basis, which is, again, why for how long we've mentioned and kept saying over and over again, elections have vote and consequences, and these are the consequences we're going to have to deal with, and they have repercussions for many, many years to come. And so, I hope that I can put some wisdom into the Supreme Court, but I don't see that coming down the pike. So we're just going to have to hope for a time when we can replace some of those justices, but it's not an easy process.
For a little while, it seemed like twisted evangelicals had taken over Colorado Springs, the ones that had kind of gone silent for a while. However, they probably feel more empowered now, given the current administration. So they're back.
Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. South Florida Pride concert ban Heroes and Villains with Broadway stars at the Parker May 10th. The South Florida Pride concert band is set to deliver an electrifying performance on Saturday, May 10th at 7 p.m. with Heroes and Villains, a thrilling one-night-only concert presented by the Bears of South Florida. Taking place at Wells Hall at the Parker, this spectacular event will celebrate history's greatest champions and most infamous foes through powerful music. Expect an unforgettable journey from Hercules to Darth Vader and beyond. The concert boasts an incredible lineup featuring Tony Award-winning vocalist Francis Ruffel and Tony and Grammy Award nominee Max von Essen. These Broadway stars will bring iconic characters to life through stunning performances. Tickets start at $45 and are expected to sell fast. Don't miss your chance to experience this night of music, drama, and pride. For more details, visit southfloridapridebands.org. The Bears of South Florida are an organization that we get to support here all the time, and they bring lots of great events and heroes and villains. I'm wondering if they're going to have a musical performance of Ron DeSantis maybe on stage. Rhonda DeSantis will make an appearance as the main villain of the state of Florida.
Yeah.
He could sing "These White Boots Are Made for Walking."
Wow.
Oh, boy.
You should do the musical direction.
And I was excited to see gay Tony-nominated performer Max von Essen's name. She's really hot, great singer, very talented. So check it out.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun night. I hope I get to go. Get your tickets because they will sell out fast. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. And those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. The anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ and ally community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I've been happy to serve as your anchor, Tai Houser, and on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Jeff Oliverio and Gregg Shapiro. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer. Good night.
Good night.